the thing about history as a field that I really, really love is that there are no closed doors. There's a way in which you pick a problem because it's something that's agitating you or interests you or intrigues you, and then you figure out what are the best ways to solve that problem. And the really great thing about history is that you don't have to do it this way and you don't have to do it that way. It has to make sense given the problem that you decided on. Now, for myself, it wasn't obvious that I was going to go into history. I first thought I was going to be a German literature major. I switched to history because all my most interesting friends were doing history in college. When I was in college in the 1960s was a time of enormous political upheaval in the United States, but also it was the pretty close to the immediate post-war period, and we were super, super interested in the question of how did the Nazis come to power? What did that whole thing mean? Hannah Arendt's Eichmann in Jerusalem came out right about the time that I was going to college. We spent hours debating that book, its virtues or its defects, talking about the kinds of issues it raised. I was a huge fan of Hannah Arendt. I read all of her work that I could get my hands on in college. She was a kind of ideal woman intellectual as far as I was concerned. And so I first was going to study the Nazis when I went to graduate school, and then my other big interest was the French Revolution, because these were both periods of enormous upheaval in which lots of things happened and needed explaining, it seemed to me. And there are many reasons why I switched to French history. I had a great teacher of the French Revolution when I was in college who got a lot of us interested in the subject. But also, May 68 in France happened while I was a first-year graduate student. France, Revolution, these things were in the air, and I decided that what I really wanted to study was why do some people become revolutionaries and other people don't? So that's where I started, which is with two towns at the beginning of the French Revolution. Why did one have a violent revolution? Why did the other one not? And I was just very interested in those days in the sort of social history of politics and how it worked. But I think, now people are interested in different kinds of questions. It's really a question of finding what you're interested in and figuring out what are the best ways to approach it. And as I said, the great, great virtue of history as a field is that the doors are always open for innovation, for new kinds of approaches, for fresh views of what's happened in the past. And it's just an incredibly exciting field. I mean,